WTU Tempo Us podcast, beating Charmin. Welcome to the WTU Tempo Us podcast. I'm your host, Dave Tainer. Across America over the next few weeks, thousands of young men will leave home for the very first time to attend college football camp as a true freshman. Moms are going to cry. I know mine did. Dads will hug their sons just a little bit longer, and girlfriends will wonder whether their relationship is going to survive. They may even try to talk you out of going. But none of those young men know this yet, but they're about to meet someone. I call him Charmin. You may never have given him a name, but you've heard the voice. He's soft. He's comfortable. He's persuasive. And he always sounds reasonable. Now, this episode isn't really about football camp. It isn't about a fitness challenge like 75 Hard. It isn't about a body transformation goal. It isn't about a marathon. It's about the conversations that happen inside of every one of us. Because the greatest battle you'll ever fight isn't against another team. It isn't against another opponent. It's the battle within yourself between comfort and the person you're capable of becoming. Now I remember the first time I truly met Charmin. Now I've coached college football for almost 30 years since that time. But before I ever stood on the sideline as a coach, I was that freshman attending my very first football camp, being dropped off to college, getting out of the car and arriving at Urbana University. I had a duffel bag full of clothes, and I moved into South Hall. Didn't have a whole lot. I had that duffel bag full of clothes, toothbrush, soap, towels, washcloths, the basic and bare necessities. No television, no stereo, no distractions. Thought I could focus just on football. Now, when you move into South Hall, those of you that are familiar with it, you move into a really little tiny dorm room. 4 cinder block walls. The most drab place you possibly could ever go into. Barely a paint job on them. Most of it's kind of flaking off the walls. There were tile floors, several of them cracked. I'm pretty sure there was asbestos flying around in the room. Wasn't a super nice place to be. It was a little tiny room. You were in there by yourself. No roommate. And then once we're on campus, day 1 of college football camp. Now, our coaches, I love them. Coach Hudson was one of my best, one of my initial mentors, and then Coach Wesson, our head coach. But their idea of a conditioning test lacked connection with reality, I'll say. We had 10 300-yard shuttles. Okay? 10 300-yard shuttles, absolute fucking misery. Okay, you got to finish it as offensive line. You got to finish it in 60 seconds. If you finish in 60 seconds, you get 60 seconds rest. If it takes you 70 seconds, you get 50 seconds rest. So work to rest ratios, out the window. This wasn't based on science. It was based on toughness, period. The majority of us didn't pass it. So when you started day 1 of camp, you had run club, 5:30 a.m., full conditioning. All right, you get done. You go to breakfast, you eat breakfast. Then you got the morning practice, 2-hour practice, plus at the end of it, you had another conditioning number 2. All right, get done with it. We got some meetings. Go to lunch. Get done with lunch, you got the afternoon practice. At the end of the afternoon practice, it's conditioning again. That's conditioning number 3. All right, you get a little break, you go to dinner, you get done with dinner, you come back, and we split. Big guys either went inside and lifted or we went out for one-on-ones. Skill guys, the opposite of it, they either went in and lifted and conditioned or they went out and they did 7-on-7. But no matter what you did, you had your 4th conditioning of the day. So get done with it, then you got meetings, then sleep, wake up, repeat. Repeat again. It was Bill Murray's Groundhog Day from hell every single day. Now, I wasn't antisocial during the time. I had South Hall in order to go back to. But you're too exhausted to be social. 9:30 meeting ends, in bed by 9:45. Your only counterpart, the 4 cinder block walls. That's your only company. Now, think back to that idea of having your own room sounded nice, but damn, it'd have been nice to have somebody in that room with you, because the only other voices in that room was Charmin talking to you about what's going on. Okay, maybe you could do this. So within a couple days, it's not surprising. Something started happening. Every morning, another locker was empty. Another room had been cleared out. Another freshman had taken the midnight train home. We started camp with over 70 freshmen. By the end, fewer than 30 remained. Think about that. They didn't lose at football. They lost a conversation with Charmin and what he whispered to them. You've had enough. Nobody blamed you if you went home. These coaches are fucking crazy. Maybe you don't belong here. I can find somewhere else to go. You can always go home. Now notice, Charmin never yells at you. He whispers to you in a soft little voice. And he sounds perfectly reasonable. But I made a deal with myself during that camp. Don't ever quit. Because the first time Charmin wins, the second time it gets easier to let him win. Now, on the other hand, every victory over Charmin strengthens you, makes you a little tougher. Every surrender, though, strengthens him. Don't feed Charmin strength. So I'll tell you, football camps are beginning all over America this week. Thousands of young men are going to meet Charmin. My piece of advice, don't let him win a single battle. And definitely don't let him win the first battle. Embrace the fight. Win against that voice. Beat Charmin. Years later, after that camp experience that I had as a freshman, to be exact, 14 or 15 years later, I wasn't the freshman anymore. I was a head coach at Urbana University. And during those years, I witnessed a pattern every single August. It was like watching the exact same movie over and over again. Day one, when everybody arrives at camp. Once you've created that separation, everybody's excited. They got fresh gear, fresh legs. Everybody loves football when they haven't had to sacrifice for it yet. Now, day two, the anticipation is starting to build a little bit. You're going to get pads on tomorrow. Everybody's talking a tough game, but you know tomorrow you put pads on. So day two ends up being a pretty enthusiastic day as well. Now, day three, pads are on. Energy is everywhere. Everybody thinks they're a football player, and we're going to go out and prove who are the football players when we get those pads on. Energy and enthusiasm are at an all-time high at that point in time. But then there's day four. This is where camp actually begins. And it's the second time where Charmin starts to speak a little louder. So, on day four, what's going on? You've just put in 3 straight 16-hour days of practices, workouts, meetings, walkthroughs, meetings. Get a meal in there a few times. But it's 16 hours a day. You've done it 3 days in a row. You've also had your first day in full pads. So you're a little bit beat up. Soreness has arrived. The excitement has faded. Energy is down. We're going to figure out who truly is enthusiastic. Reality's showing up. Now Charmin's going to walk onto that football field. On that day, traditionally, every 4th day during camp, we have a very important staff meeting. During that staff meeting, I'm going to talk to my coaches about something. I'm going to say, look, we need to be paying attention to our workout lines, our training lines. Not the front of the line that's actually doing the drill. You got to coach that, but you got to pay attention to the back of the line. You got to watch body language of the guys who are out, who's dragging, who's suddenly quiet, who's got those far away eyes, who's making some excuses. But also I want you to pay attention whose energy and enthusiasm is contagious, is maybe leading someone. Because at the end of that day, we're going to put together accountability partners. partners that'll push each other. Now, some of this might create some fireworks in the process, but we want to find our young players that are swimming, that are dragging. The Charmin is probably in their ear a lot. And we're going to partner them up with accountability partners that are older guys on our team that we think are our best leaders, that have earned it through past camps, past off seasons, have invested their time, and understand the culture we're trying to develop. Then we're also going to target our older players that are coasting. The Charmin is in there. You're like, hey, I don't really have to do anything. This isn't game week. We don't play anybody for a couple weeks. They're trying to coast by. We'll figure out the freshmen that have some of that contagious enthusiasm, and we're going to put them together. Might create a little bit of fireworks, but we need to build that culture. So enthusiasm is contagious. So if you get the right leaders with the right young guys, they're going to grow and develop. If you put the right young guys with the guys to push them, competitiveness takes over. So enthusiasm's contagious, but so is quitting. I found that out in that very first camp I was at as a true freshman back so many years before at Urbana University. 70 plus down to under 30. So leadership sometimes finds itself when you are with someone and you can borrow their strength. And we can take a selfless approach to how we do things. Take a position of strength to better our teammates. I help them develop their weaknesses and beat Charmin. Now, the reason why day 4 is so important to me, enthusiasm can't be measured on day 1. Can't be measured on day 2. It can't be measured on day 3 because enthusiasm is just masked by excitement and energy. Who's able to have focused enthusiasm on day 4 when excitement leaves and standards take over? Now, 31 years after my first football camp, I found myself on day 31 of 75 hard during last year's football camp as a coach. Different battlefield, same opponent. On day 31, remember I got up at 4 o'clock in the morning because I had to get my first workout in for 75 hard outside, 4 miles. The entire time I was running, I felt like my Achilles was going to snap. But set a standard. Couldn't listen to Charmin and said, man, you can walk a little bit. Nope, got to run your 4 miles. Got to put it in. It's got to be outside. Can't go get in the pool inside and reduce some of the weight. You got to meet the standard. Then we went to practice. We got our first practice. We got our second practice. Walk through workouts. And I got to go back for an upper body workout. During that day, I'm out throwing on the field with our quarterbacks, coaching the quarterbacks, and my arm is dragging to the point in which I can't throw really anymore. But I still got to get that upper body workout inside. The question was, am I going to let Charmin win? Am I going to let the situation and circumstances make me change my standards? No. The standard is the standard. So I pushed through. Continue to push through for the next 44 days in order to finish 75 hard. Every single day that you wake up, there's an opportunity to listen to Charmin. Win it. Those of you guys that are going to your first camp in college, or you're coming back for your second, third, fourth, or fifth, Charmin's going to talk to you during that camp. Embrace the process. The standard is the standard, and beat Charmin.